Have you ever screwed up big time, gotten rejected, or watched something you worked on for months completely fall apart? Now, most people, they break in these moments. The world feels like it's caving in, like every ounce of effort was in vain, and there's nothing left but the weight of failure. I get it. I've been there too, questioning myself, wondering if I was cut out for this. But what if I told you that these moments aren't your end, they're your beginning? This is where true strength is forged. The Stoics believed that adversity isn't something to avoid, but something to embrace. They knew that in the depths of struggle, the opportunity for growth was waiting. What if we could transform our failures into the very things that make us unbreakable? The difference between those who crumble and those who rise lies not in their circumstances, but in their response. It's about learning how to harness the power of discomfort, how to reframe setbacks as stepping stones. And if you're ready to take that first step toward true growth, please subscribe. It's like a commitment to bettering yourself, to embracing the Stoic path of strength and wisdom. Welcome to a journey of transformation. You've been there. The moment when your efforts are met with rejection or failure. It hurts, doesn't it? That feeling of being torn down, as if everything you've worked so hard for has crumbled in an instant. It's easy to think that the pain of rejection is a judgment on your value as a person, that the world has singled you out and told you you're not good enough. But here's where we often go wrong. We mistake the external event, the rejection or the failure, as a reflection of our worth. And that's a dangerous trap to fall into. The Stoics, however, saw this moment differently. They understood that the world will always present us with obstacles, rejection, and failure. But none of these things determine who we are. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is a profound shift in perspective. Rejection is not a judgment on you, it's simply an event. It's the way we respond to it that truly defines us. So when life hits you with a setback, instead of seeing it as the end, consider it a lesson, a challenge. What can you learn from this moment? What can it teach you about your own strength and resilience? The pain of rejection is inevitable, but it's also temporary. In time, that sting fades, and what's left is the opportunity to grow from it. Rejection is just a moment, not a defining characteristic of who you are. And the Stoics understood this at their core. They didn't let the opinions of others dictate their sense of self-worth. They knew that their true value came from within, not from external validation. So the next time you face rejection, ask yourself, how can I turn this into something that strengthens me? How can I rise from this moment and become more resilient? This is the Stoic way, to turn every challenge into a stepping stone toward growth. And yet, many of us find ourselves in a cycle of self-doubt when faced with rejection. We second-guess ourselves, question our abilities, and let the experience define us. But here's the truth. The longer you allow rejection to dictate your emotions, the longer it will hold power over you. The key is to take that pain and transform it. Rather than letting it eat away at your confidence, use it to fuel your desire to grow. Remember, what others think or say about you does not define you. It's your response to their judgments, your ability to stand firm in the face of adversity that truly shapes your character. In the end, rejection is an opportunity to practice resilience, to strengthen your resolve, and to learn how to rise stronger than before. The Stoic path isn't about avoiding rejection. It's about embracing it, learning from it, and using it to propel yourself forward. Life will always have its setbacks, but it's how you respond to them that will determine your journey. Rejection isn't something that defines us unless we let it. It's just a part of life, a part of the journey that teaches us valuable lessons about our own strength. Every obstacle, Every rejection is simply another step toward becoming the best version of yourself. The Stoics knew that every challenge was an opportunity to grow, and the same is true for you. So, the next time rejection comes knocking, remember this: it's not the end of the road. It's just the beginning of a new chapter in your journey toward becoming unshakable. The pain of rejection can feel unbearable in the moment, but remember, it's just a fleeting experience. It's the way we respond to it that matters most. Don't let rejection define you. Use it as a tool for growth, a challenge to rise above, and a stepping stone on your path to becoming more resilient than ever. Real growth doesn't happen when everything is comfortable. It doesn't happen when things are easy or when we can float along without facing any real challenges. It happens when we step into discomfort, when we confront the things that scare us, that push us to our limits. Think about it. How many times have you grown, not during the easy times, but when life got hard? That's exactly what Stoicism teaches us. The path to wisdom, virtue, and strength lies in overcoming hardship. Think of it like weight training for the soul. The more you embrace discomfort, the stronger your resilience becomes. Every time you choose to face the hard things, whether it's a tough conversation with a friend or pushing through physical exhaustion at the gym, you are building your mental muscle. You're training your mind to handle the next challenge with greater ease. Over time, what once seemed unbearable becomes just another hurdle you know you can overcome. It's easy to choose comfort. It's tempting to stay within the safe, familiar spaces where we don't have to stretch ourselves. But the truth is, nothing worth achieving comes from staying comfortable. Success, growth, wisdom, they all require us to step outside of our comfort zones and embrace the discomfort. You don't grow stronger by staying in the same place. You grow stronger by challenging yourself, by pushing through the resistance that stands in your way. This might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, don't we all crave comfort and security? Yes, we do, but the Stoics understood something powerful. Comfort can be a trap. It lures you in, makes you feel safe, but it also keeps you small. It keeps you from realizing your full potential. On the other hand, when you intentionally choose discomfort, you're saying yes to growth. You're saying, I'm ready for more. I'm ready to face whatever comes my way. It's through that willingness to face discomfort that we evolve. When you make discomfort your ally, you start to reframe the way you view challenges. They're not threats. They're opportunities to expand your capacity, to test your limits, and to become something greater than you were before. The more you push yourself, the more you realize that you are capable of so much more than you ever imagined. Discomfort becomes the tool you use to sculpt yourself into a stronger, more resilient person. Of course, that doesn't mean discomfort isn't painful. It is, but it's also temporary. It's a necessary part of the process. As Carl Jung said, I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. The pain of discomfort is not permanent, but the strength you gain from facing it is. Every time you rise to the occasion, every time you push through the discomfort, you are creating a stronger version of yourself. One decision, one challenge, one moment at a time. Think about the things that scare you. The tough conversations, the challenging situations, the things that seem just beyond your reach. Now think about how you can step into those things rather than avoiding them. What would happen if you started leaning into the discomfort? What would it look like if, instead of running from fear, you leaned in and said, I can handle this? Every moment of discomfort is an opportunity to grow, and every time you face it, you become a little bit stronger. At first, it will feel difficult. That's normal. But just like lifting weights at the gym, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And soon, You'll start to notice that the things that used to scare you no longer have the same power over you. You'll start to embrace discomfort as a sign that you're on the right track, that you're moving forward, that you're growing. And that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to see the world differently, not as a place full of obstacles, but as a place full of opportunities to grow, expand, and become more than you ever thought possible. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They didn't shy away from life's difficulties. They faced them with courage, knowing that on the other side of hardship was something greater. They didn't run from discomfort. They welcomed it, because they knew it was the gateway to strength, wisdom, and virtue. And this is the lesson they left for us. The true path to growth is not in avoiding the hard things, but in choosing them again and again. So the next time life presents you with a challenge, don't shy away. Don't let fear dictate your actions. Instead, lean into the discomfort. Embrace it, because in doing so, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Every time you choose discomfort, you're investing in your own resilience, building the strength that will carry you through even the toughest moments. And the more you do it, the more you'll realize you are capable of so much more than you thought. When things go wrong, it's easy to point fingers. They didn't do this, or it was their fault, we tell ourselves. The temptation to shift blame comes naturally, especially when things feel out of our control. It's almost as if blaming others will lessen the sting of failure, making it feel less personal. But here's where we often make a crucial mistake. By focusing on blame, we strip ourselves of the one thing that can truly change the course of our lives: ownership. The Stoics didn't dwell on the faults of others. They asked a far more empowering question: how am I responsible for this situation? Taking ownership doesn't mean beating yourself up or falling into a trap of self-blame. It's about recognizing that while you may not have control over everything that happens to you, you do have control over how you respond to it. It's a shift in mindset that places the power back in your hands. It's about accepting that whatever happens, you are the one who gets to decide what comes next. And that realization, once you really embrace it, can be one of the most freeing and empowering shifts you'll ever make. When you take responsibility, you stop seeing yourself as a passive bystander in your own life. You stop waiting for circumstances to change or for other people to step in and fix things for you. Instead, you realize that you are the one with the ability to shape the outcome moving forward. This is where true empowerment lies, not in waiting for the world to change, but in changing how you respond to it. In that moment of ownership, everything shifts. You stop being the victim of your circumstances and start becoming the architect of your future. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the essence of ownership. It's about taking power over your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions, no matter what the external circumstances might be. When you take responsibility, you're not just claiming ownership over your mistakes or failures. You're also claiming ownership over your success, your growth, and your potential. This shift in perspective transforms the way you see every challenge. Rather than seeing failure as something to fear or avoid, you begin to see it as an opportunity for growth, a moment where you can learn something valuable about yourself. In life, it's easy to get caught in the trap of blaming others or circumstances when things go wrong. It can feel better, at least for a moment, to point out what others did or didn't do. But the truth is, blaming others only keeps you stuck. It keeps you in a cycle of helplessness where you're waiting for someone else to fix things for you. The moment you take ownership, that cycle breaks. You stop waiting for someone else to change the course of your life, and you realize that you are the one in control. That's where your true power lies, not in what others do, but in what you do with what's been given to you. Taking ownership doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. It doesn't mean that you ignore the impact of other people's actions or the challenges that life throws your way. But it does mean that you stop waiting for things to magically improve. You stop letting the circumstances around you dictate your fate. Instead, you start looking for the ways in which you can make changes, big or small, to improve the situation. This shift in mindset is what makes all the difference. It's the difference between being a passive victim and an active participant in your own life. The path to success is not without its challenges, but when you take ownership, you empower yourself to navigate those challenges with a sense of agency and control. Your failures are no longer something to be ashamed of. They are stepping stones, lessons to be learned from. And in the same way, your success is not the result of luck or chance, but the result of your own decisions, your own actions, and your own resilience. When you take ownership, you unlock your true potential, and you realize that you have everything you need to shape your own future. In the end, ownership isn't about perfection, it's about accountability. It's about recognizing that regardless of the situation, you always have the power to choose your response. And that is a power no one can take away from you. So, the next time things don't go according to plan, instead of looking outward, look inward. Ask yourself, how am I responsible for this? When you take ownership, you free yourself from the chains of blame and regret. You step into a space of empowerment where every setback is an opportunity, every challenge a chance to grow stronger. That's the power of ownership. And when you embrace it, you begin to see that you have the ability to shape the life you want, one decision at a time. When faced with a setback, it's impossible to avoid the flood of emotions that rush in. Fear, shame, frustration. These feelings can overwhelm you, clouding your judgment and making it hard to see clearly. In these moments, it's easy to spiral into self-doubt and panic. But here's the truth you need to remember. Emotions are temporary, and often they lie. They don't reflect the reality of the situation. They reflect our reaction to it. And as powerful as these emotions feel, they do not have to control us. The Stoics understood this fundamental truth about emotions. They knew that emotions are like the weather, constantly shifting, unpredictable, and often misleading. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminded himself that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. The key here is not to let fleeting emotions dictate your actions. Instead, the Stoics taught us to step back and observe. They understood that our response to emotions is what ultimately defines us, not the emotions themselves. When the storm of feelings hits, it's our ability to find calm within the chaos that makes all the difference. Imagine you're faced with a failure, whether it's a missed opportunity, a mistake at work, or a relationship falling apart. The immediate emotional reaction is often intense. You feel the weight of the situation, and your emotions scream that this is the end, that this failure defines you. But this is where we must pause. Instead of reacting impulsively, we need to assess the situation from a rational perspective. What went wrong? What are the facts? What can be improved? These questions pull us away from the emotional storm and ground us in reality. The facts don't lie. They give us the clarity we need to see the path forward. Often, it's the smallest adjustments, the subtle shifts in perspective, that make all the difference between failure and success. When we let emotions dictate our actions, we lose the opportunity to learn from our mistakes. Emotions cloud our judgment and push us toward quick fixes or reactions driven by fear, anger, or disappointment. But facts don't change with the weather. They remain steady, reliable, and consistent. When you can detach yourself from the emotional fog and look at the data, the facts of the situation, You put yourself in a position to make better decisions. The Stoics were masters at this. They didn't ignore their emotions. They acknowledged them, then moved beyond them to focus on the facts. This is how they maintained their composure, even in the most challenging times. Imagine being in a stressful situation where your heart races, your mind spins, and panic threatens to take over. It's in these moments that it's critical to slow down, breathe, and take stock of what's happening. Rather than being swept away by the tide of emotions, you can choose to observe them from a distance, recognizing that they are temporary. This gives you the space to make decisions based on logic, not impulse. The ability to detach from your emotions is not about suppressing them, it's about not allowing them to control your behavior or cloud your judgment. When you can learn to separate your emotions from the facts, you open the door to clarity, creativity, and effective problem-solving. This is where the real power lies, in your ability to act in spite of your emotions, not because of them. Think of it like this. Emotions are like a loud, distracting noise, but data is the steady rhythm that guides you forward. The more you practice stepping back and assessing the facts, the more you strengthen your ability to think clearly under pressure. This is one of the core teachings of Stoicism. Our response to adversity is far more important than the adversity itself. Emotions may rise and fall like waves, but you are the anchor that holds steady, refusing to be tossed around by the storm. As you face challenges in your life, remember this: you are more than your emotions. Your emotions are real, yes, but they are not permanent. They do not define you. What defines you is how you handle them. Do you allow fear to dictate your choices? Or do you look at the situation with clear eyes, focusing on the facts and making decisions that move you toward growth? The Stoics believed that virtue, living a life of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, was the highest goal. And these virtues are not swayed by fleeting emotions. They are built on the foundation of rational thought, steady action, and the ability to stay grounded in the face of adversity. Emotions can be powerful, but they can also be misleading. Don't let them be the ones to chart your course. Instead, let the facts guide you. When you face setbacks, take a deep breath, step back, and ask yourself, what is the truth of this situation? What can I learn from it? When you focus on the facts rather than the feelings, you position yourself for growth. Every setback, every challenge, every failure becomes an opportunity to learn, adjust, and ultimately succeed. That's the power of stepping beyond your emotions and embracing the steady guidance of the facts. When you let your emotions lead, you risk making decisions that don't serve you in the long run. But when you focus on the facts, on what's real, on what's tangible, you empower yourself to move forward with clarity and purpose. Remember, emotions are temporary. They come and go, but the facts remain, and it's the facts that will lead you to where you want to go. Let the wisdom of the Stoics guide you through the noise. Embrace the temporary nature of your emotions and use the power of the facts to guide your decisions. We all dream of the life we want, the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the ideal success. We picture ourselves at the top, having everything we've ever desired: happiness, stability, fulfillment. But here's the truth that's easy to overlook. Dreams don't come for free. There's always a price to pay. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They knew that every choice comes with a cost. Whether we like it or not, if we want something, we must be willing to give something up to get it. It could be time, comfort, even relationships. Nothing comes without sacrifice. The idea of sacrifice often scares us. We like to think we can have it all, that we can keep everything in balance without giving up anything of value. But reality doesn't work that way. If you want to achieve something great, If you want to reach your goals, you will have to make sacrifices. The Stoics teach us that commitment without sacrifice is mere fantasy. You can dream all you want, but without real, tangible sacrifices, those dreams will remain just that, dreams. It's the willingness to let go of certain things, to make hard choices, that actually makes your dreams a reality. This is where things get uncomfortable. The Stoics knew that to truly commit to a cause, to a vision, to a goal, you had to ask yourself some tough questions. What am I truly willing to endure to reach my goals? This isn't a question to answer lightly. It requires you to dig deep into your core and reflect on what matters most to you. Are you willing to sacrifice your time, the late nights and early mornings, the comfort of your couch for the discomfort of pursuing your passion? Maybe it's sacrificing time with family or friends in the short term to build something that will bring long-term fulfillment. The reality is that something has to give if you're going to move forward. Success doesn't just land in your lap. It requires effort, focus, and, most importantly, sacrifice. The Stoics taught us to embrace sacrifice, not as a burden, but as an essential part of the process. Seneca, in his writings, emphasized the importance of giving up certain comforts to achieve a higher purpose. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it, he said. This is a powerful reminder that time is the one resource we cannot get back. Every minute you spend pursuing one thing is a minute you're not spending on something else. The question is, are you spending that time wisely? Are you investing it in the things that will move you closer to your goals, even if it means giving up the immediate comforts or distractions that feel good in the moment? Sacrifice doesn't always mean giving up material things. Sometimes it's about letting go of your old habits, your old ways of thinking, your old self. It's about challenging yourself to grow, to push past your limits, and to evolve. It's easy to stay in the comfort zone, but growth doesn't happen there. It happens when you step outside of it and face the unknown. It happens when you make decisions that stretch you, that force you to sacrifice the person you once were to become the person you need to be. When you decide to commit fully to something, you also commit to the discomfort that comes with it. It might mean saying no to the things that hold you back, whether that's the security of a stable job, the predictability of a safe life, or even relationships that are no longer aligned with your vision. And that's where the real test comes. How much are you willing to sacrifice? The more you give up, the more you're forced to focus on what really matters. You begin to eliminate distractions, to hone in on the things that will actually move you forward. Commitment is about choosing your path, even when it's hard. It's about making sacrifices that lead to something greater in the long run. This doesn't mean that you should be reckless or throw everything away at once. It's about being strategic. It's about looking at your goals and deciding what's necessary for you to achieve them. Are you willing to let go of your comfort to make room for the life you really want? Are you ready to embrace the struggle that comes with it? The road to success is not paved with ease. It's full of difficult decisions, of moments when you'll feel like giving up, when the weight of sacrifice will seem unbearable. But it's in those moments that your commitment is truly tested. Will you give up, or will you push through, knowing that every sacrifice brings you closer to your goal? As Carl Jung wisely said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Becoming who you truly are requires sacrifices, it requires dedication, and it requires an unwavering commitment to your growth. Without these, your goals will always remain out of reach. The Stoics embraced sacrifice because they knew that without it, they would never grow, never evolve, never reach their full potential. Sacrifice is not something to avoid. It's something to welcome as an integral part of the journey. So as you move forward in your own life, ask yourself, what am I willing to endure to achieve my dreams? The answer to that question will determine not just your success, but the depth of your character. Your willingness to make sacrifices is what will set you apart. It's what will give you the strength to keep going when things get tough, and the clarity to know that your sacrifices are never in vain. They are the foundation upon which your success is built. The path to resilience isn't paved by one heroic moment. We often imagine that strength comes from a single defining action, some great display of courage or determination. But in reality, resilience is built on countless small decisions made consistently over time. Every day, in the smallest moments, we have the opportunity to choose. Will we push through, show up, and keep going even when it feels impossible? It's these small choices that gradually build our inner strength. They may seem insignificant at the time, but when you look back, you'll see how they've shaped you into someone unshakable. In Stoicism, this idea is captured by the concept of virtue as a daily practice. The Stoics didn't believe that we become virtuous through one grand act of heroism or by waiting for a perfect moment. Instead, they understood that virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance is something that's built day by day. It's about doing the right thing every day, even when it feels hard. It's about consistently choosing the path of growth, even when it requires sacrifice, even when you're tired, and even when the world around you seems to make it easier to quit. The strength of your character doesn't come from a singular event. It comes from the way you choose to live your life on a daily basis. Small actions, repeated over time, compound into extraordinary results. This is the foundation of true resilience. It's not about waiting for a moment of greatness to appear on your doorstep. It's about the small, seemingly insignificant steps you take every day that shape your future. Every time you get up when you don't feel like it, every time you make the right choice even when it's uncomfortable, you are reinforcing your resolve. This is the real work of building resilience. It's not flashy, and it's often not recognized by others, but it is the steady accumulation of effort that transforms you into someone capable of enduring the hardest challenges. It's easy to become frustrated with slow progress. We live in a world that celebrates instant results, fast success, and quick fixes. But real transformation doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes the willingness to keep showing up, even when it feels like nothing is changing. This is where many people give up. They think that because they don't see immediate results, their efforts aren't worth it. But the truth is, the changes you're making right now, the small decisions you're making every day, are adding up. They are shaping you, preparing you for the challenges ahead, and strengthening you in ways you can't yet see. This is why consistency is so important. When you commit to making small, positive choices each day, they begin to compound. It's like building a muscle. You don't see the results after one workout, but over time, those small efforts lead to significant strength. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, obstacles and setbacks are not roadblocks. They are opportunities for growth. The difficulties you face are not there to stop you. They're there to strengthen you. Every challenge you encounter is a chance to build your resilience and move closer to your goals. The key to building resilience is to focus on the process, not the outcome. It's easy to get caught up in the end result, to focus on where you want to be and feel discouraged by how far you have to go. But resilience isn't about perfection. It's about showing up again and again, regardless of how you feel or how difficult the journey seems. Every small decision to keep going, every moment when you choose to take the next step despite the obstacles, is a victory in itself. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving forward, one small step at a time. When you start thinking about resilience in terms of daily actions, it becomes less overwhelming. You don't have to do everything at once, and you don't have to make dramatic changes to see results. It's the little things that matter most. Whether it's getting up an hour earlier to work on your goals, or choosing to stay calm in the face of stress, or simply deciding to keep going when you want to quit. These are the decisions that build your character and your resilience. It's about aligning your daily actions with your values and your long-term goals. It's about living with intention, even in the smallest moments. One of the most powerful aspects of this approach is that it makes resilience accessible to everyone. You don't have to be extraordinary to build resilience, you just have to be consistent. Every person, no matter where they start, can make small, positive changes that lead to lasting transformation. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or for everything to fall into place. It's about showing up every day and doing the work, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem in the moment. True resilience is built from the inside out. It's not about waiting for life to hand you a moment of greatness. It's about creating greatness from the daily choices you make. By focusing on the process, by committing to small actions that align with your values and your goals, you begin to build the kind of resilience that can withstand anything life throws at you. It's the quiet, consistent effort that shapes you into someone who is not easily shaken, who can face adversity with strength and clarity. The more you practice this mindset, the more natural it becomes. Over time, these small choices start to compound, and you'll begin to see the results. You'll become someone who doesn't give up when things get tough. You'll become someone who rises after every setback, stronger and more determined. The journey to resilience isn't about a single moment of triumph. It's about the everyday decisions that shape who you are and who you are becoming. And with every decision, every action, you move closer to the person you are always meant to be. We've all heard the phrase, failure is the key to success. But have you ever truly embraced it? I'm not talking about just accepting it in theory, but really letting it sink in and transforming your mindset around failure. Most of us fear failure. We run from it. We avoid it at all costs, thinking that it's something to be ashamed of, something that defines our limitations. But here's a powerful shift. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you. The Stoics believed that setbacks weren't something to fear, but rather something to welcome. In their view, every failure is simply data. It's not a reflection of your worth, but an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. When you fail, don't see it as defeat. That's the easy way out. Instead, see it as the raw material for your next victory. Every failure holds valuable lessons, hidden gems of insight that show you what you need to adjust, what you need to improve, and what you need to understand in order to move forward. The truth is, failure is not the end. It's merely a detour, a redirection on the path to success. It's only in our reaction to failure that we truly learn about our character. We can either let it paralyze us with fear and self-doubt, or we can choose to embrace it as an essential part of our growth. What if we stopped seeing failure as something to avoid, and instead viewed it as an opportunity to refine our skills, strengthen our character, and gain clarity? In Stoicism, there is no true failure, only the chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. Every setback you face is a chance to practice resilience. Every time you fall short, it's a chance to pick yourself up and adjust your approach. It's through failure that we learn to navigate life with greater wisdom. If you can shift your perspective, setbacks will no longer paralyze you. Instead, they'll propel you forward, acting as the very fuel that drives you to succeed. Think about the times you've failed in the past. How did you respond? Did you let it defeat you? or did you learn something from it that helped you grow? The most successful people in the world have failed countless times. In fact, their greatest achievements often came on the back of their greatest failures. Each failure was a stepping stone, an essential part of their journey. They didn't let their mistakes define them. They used them to refine their path. They understood that every setback carried with it the seed of success. And when they failed, they didn't see it as the end of the road. They saw it as an invitation to keep going, to keep learning, and to keep growing. It's time to change how we view failure. Instead of letting it weigh you down or push you into hiding, use it as the raw material for your next step forward. There's a certain power in failure. When you embrace it, you take away its sting. Instead of fearing it, you understand that it's simply part of the process. Every time you face failure, you have the opportunity to adjust, to refine, and to become better. And every time you rise from failure, you become a little bit stronger, a little bit more capable, and a little bit closer to your ultimate goals. This shift in perspective can make all the difference in your journey. When failure no longer feels like a dead end, but rather a chance to grow, you stop avoiding challenges. You start leaning into them, understanding that each challenge is simply a lesson in disguise. The Stoics believed that everything that happens, whether good or bad, can be used for growth. They saw life as a series of opportunities to learn, to grow, and to become the best version of ourselves. If you approach failure with the same mindset, you'll see that it's not something to be feared, but something to be welcomed as a necessary part of your growth. So, how do you start seeing failure differently? The next time you face a setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What is this failure trying to teach me? Instead of being consumed by the negative emotions that come with failure, step back and look at it objectively. What worked? What didn't? What can you adjust in your approach? Every time you ask these questions, you turn failure into a tool for improvement rather than something that holds you back. The more you embrace this mindset, the more you'll begin to see failure as an ally, not an enemy. Failure is not a sign that you're not good enough. It's a sign that you're trying, that you're pushing your limits, and that you're learning. It's a necessary part of any journey towards success. So the next time you fail, remember this: it's not the end. It's just another step in the process. Take a deep breath, learn from it, and then keep going. Because the only true failure is giving up. Every setback, every challenge is a lesson, one that can propel you forward if you choose to embrace it. The final lesson from Stoicism is perhaps the most crucial one. Resilience begins in the mind. Your mind is the foundation upon which everything else is built. It's easy to overlook just how much power our thoughts have over the life we lead. We often focus on external factors, how much money we have, who supports us, or how easy things are. But none of that matters if your mind isn't strong enough to handle the challenges life throws at you. If your mind is weak, your actions will be weak. The mind is the lens through which you see the world, and if that lens is cloudy or broken, everything else falls apart. But when you train your mind to be strong, when you learn to be calm in the face of adversity, that's when your resilience becomes unshakable. Building mental resilience takes time and effort. It's not something you wake up with overnight. It requires training, patience, and, perhaps most importantly, the willingness to face uncomfortable truths about yourself and the world around you. The Stoics were masters of this practice. They understood that life is full of difficulties, challenges that you cannot avoid no matter how hard you try. But they also understood that it's not the challenges that break you, it's your reaction to them. The Stoics didn't expect to live a life free from struggle. Instead, they worked on cultivating a mind that could withstand and even thrive in the face of adversity. Think about the most difficult moments in your life. How did you react? Did you crumble under the pressure, or did you find a way to navigate the storm? Our mental strength is often revealed not in moments of comfort, but in moments of crisis. And here's the thing. The more you face these moments, the stronger your mind becomes. Each challenge is a training ground for your resilience. Every setback is an opportunity to strengthen your ability to face life's difficulties with calmness and clarity. It's not about avoiding discomfort or running from hard times. It's about facing them head-on and knowing that no matter what happens, you have the power to handle it. Mental resilience doesn't happen by accident. It's built by the daily practice of controlling your thoughts and actions. It requires you to develop the ability to stay grounded when everything around you is chaotic. When life throws a curveball, do you respond with panic and fear, or do you take a moment to assess, to breathe, and to choose your next move wisely? This is the essence of Stoic philosophy, learning to maintain control over your thoughts and emotions even in the most trying circumstances. The Stoics believed that your mind was the most important tool you had, and if you trained it to be strong, nothing could truly shake your foundation. There will always be external circumstances that challenge you. Life is unpredictable, and it doesn't always go the way you expect. But with a resilient mind, those circumstances lose their power over you. When you train yourself to focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your reactions, your perspective, those external factors become less important. Yes, life will throw challenges your way, but with a strong mind, you will stand firm. You will understand that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you always have the power to control how you respond. And that's what makes you unshakable. It's not about avoiding life's storms, but learning how to navigate them with grace and confidence. This doesn't mean that you won't feel fear, doubt, or uncertainty. In fact, the ability to embrace those feelings without letting them control you is a key part of building mental resilience. The Stoics didn't teach us to suppress our emotions or pretend that hardship doesn't affect us. They taught us that while emotions are a natural part of life, they don't have to dictate our actions. It's not about denying your feelings. It's about learning to rise above them, to see them as temporary and fleeting, and to make decisions based on reason and clarity rather than reactionary impulses. This is where true mental strength lies, not in suppressing your emotions, but in using them as signals for what needs to change and then acting in alignment with your values and goals. Resilience is not a trait that some people are born with and others are not. It's a skill, one that can be developed and strengthened over time. Just like building physical strength requires consistent effort in the gym, building mental resilience requires consistent effort in how you approach life's challenges. And the best part? The more you practice, the easier it gets. Each time you face a setback, each time you choose to stay calm, to reflect, and to act from a place of strength, you are strengthening your resilience. Over time, the challenges that once seemed insurmountable will feel more manageable because you've trained your mind to handle them with ease. It's also important to remember that building mental resilience isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's about making the right choice, even when it's hard. And it's about understanding that setbacks are not failures. They're just part of the journey. With a resilient mind, setbacks become just another opportunity for growth, another lesson to be learned, another chance to build strength. The Stoics understood this intimately. They didn't view life's challenges as threats to be feared. They saw them as opportunities to practice virtue, to grow, and to become stronger. And by doing so, they developed minds that were resilient in the face of whatever life threw at them. Building a resilient mind is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. It's not about avoiding difficulties or pretending that everything is fine. It's about facing the world head-on, knowing that you have the strength and the tools to handle whatever comes your way. And the more you practice this mindset, the more you'll realize that life's challenges no longer have the power to shake you. Instead, they become part of your growth, part of your journey to becoming the best version of yourself. A resilient mind is a mind that is unstoppable, and once you cultivate it, nothing can stand in your way. Remember, the strength you seek doesn't come from avoiding life's challenges. It comes from facing them with a calm mind and a resilient heart. Every setback is just another opportunity for growth. Keep showing up, keep learning, and never forget that your greatest power lies in how you respond to the world around you. If you found value in this video, check out one of the suggested videos on the screen to continue your journey of growth and resilience. Thank you for being part of Stoic Journal. Keep growing, keep evolving.